Students, Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants Part 2. Today we are going to study the structure and function of pollen grain. As we know, pollen grain is the male gametophyte. Pollen grain is called male gametophyte. So here you can see the size of the pollen grain is 25 to 50 micrometer in diameter, and it is measuring about 25 to 50 micrometer in diameter. Next we can see here pollen grain is covered by two layers. It is a two-layered structure. Outer layer you can say exine and inner layer is called indine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin, and the sporopollenin contain, it is one of the most resistant organic material, and it can withstand high temperature and strong acid and alkali. No enzyme that degrades sporopollenin, and because of the presence of this sporopollenin, it is preserved as a fossil. It is used to preserve as a fossil. So that you can understand about the sporopollenin. And the outermost layer, exine, is not a continuous layer, because it contains small pores that is called germ pore. The germ pore used to formation of pollen tube. Then the next inner layer you can see indine. Indine is made up of cellulose and pectin. And when the pollen grain mature, it divides into vegetative cell and generative cell. It divides into two cells. That only you can say vegetative cell and generative cell. Vegetative cell is bigger. It is used to store food, and it has more than one nucleus. Inside the vegetative cell, generative cell means the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell, generative cell floats. So the another cell that you can see, generative cell, it is small. And when this pollen grain mature, this generative cell undergoes mitosis to form two male gametes. So 60% of the angiosperm, when this pollen grain shedded, they have three cells. That you can say one cell is vegetative cell and two male gametes. Remaining 40%, when they shed pollen grain, when they shed, they have two cells. That you can say vegetative cell and generative cell. Then next you can see there are some advantages and disadvantages of pollen grain. So first of all we can see what is the disadvantage of pollen grain. It is one of the allergic substance. It is one of the allergens. It causes some respiratory disorders. And here you can see in the textbook one of the NEET question, one of the imported wheat that is called carrot grass, Parthenium. It causes severe allergy, respiratory disorders. It affects in the bronchi. Next you can see this is one of the disadvantage of pollen grain, and the another here you can see advantages of pollen grain. It is used in some other countries for the nutrients, as large number of pollen products in the form of tablets and syrups are available in the market. Pollen consumption has been claimed to increase the performance of athletes and racehorse. So it is used as nutrient content, and it is used for different purposes like athletes and racehorses also. Next you can understand here viability of pollen grain. Means the pollen grain has to transfer to the female part for the fertilization, or you can say pollination. It has to reach in at particular time, on right time, then only it can be pollinated or fertilized. So here you can see some of the cereals such as rice and wheat. The pollen grains lose viability within 30 minutes. Once again I will say these examples are very important for the NEET. The cereals such as rice and wheat, pollen grains lose viability within 30 minutes. And next you can see some of the members of Rosaceae, Leguminosae and Solanaceae, they lose the viability for months. They can viable for months. So here you can see the viability of pollen grains. So some of the pollen grains they lose the viability within minutes. Some of the pollen grains lose the viability within months. Because of that reason, they store artificially. That only you can say pollen bank. They store artificially by the help of liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. So that process you can say cryopreservation. Pollen grains are stored artificially. That only you can say pollen bank. It can be stored, it can be used whenever the farmers they need, they can be used. So that process you can say cryopreservation at minus 196 degrees Celsius in liquid nitrogen. So that only you can understand about the pollen grain. According to the what we have studied today about the pollen grain, we can discuss two questions of NEET. First question here you can see pollen grains are shed at which stage? We have studied pollen grains. When the pollen grains mature, they divide into vegetative cell and generative cell. Then again the generative cell undergoes mitosis to form two cells. That only you can say two male gametes. So when they shed, so A two-celled, B three-celled, C usually two-celled but sometimes three-celled. D here you can see single-celled. So right answer you can see usually two-celled but sometimes three-celled. Pollen grains are able to withstand extreme of temperature and desiccation because their egg sign is composed of cutin, suberin, sporopollen, and callose. So we have studied egg sign is made up of one of the important organic material that they cannot degrade by any enzyme, acid or alkali. Oh, so that only you can understand here sporopollen. So sporopollen is the right answer. So next about pistil or megasporangium we can study in the next video. Okay, thank you.